It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Dusty and Tommy Gazzola with you here on the Ohtani Stream. Is reporting that Ohtani has chosen the Toronto Blue Jays over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Lieutenant Eric said his flight is just over Nebraska. Which panhandle is it over there, Rick? Just his flight is currently over the Oklahoma panhandle and on the way to Toronto to possibly announce this thing. But JP Hornstra, who's in the newspaper business for a long time with Dodgers Nation, is tweeting out that Shohei Ohtani has chosen the Toronto Blue Jays. So, unbelievable times, Tommy Gazzola. Unbelievable times. On the day that the Edmonton Oilers play the Minnesota Wild, of all things. Can you believe this? Tommy, you're muted. I like seeing Tommy go, what? You're totally muted. This is the mic, and we can almost see that mic, too. Yeah, you're still muted, Tommy. You can do hand signs if you want, but anyway, yeah, no, you're reconnect the mic. Tommy, we'll get Tommy at some point. You can hit us up in the nasty chat. Of course, you can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. We're going to set up the Oilers and the Minnesota Wild. Hornstra saying, Ohtani's choice is in. This is not a drill. Unbelievable. There we go. Now we got you, Tommy. How you doing, buddy?
Can you hear me now?
No, I still can't hear you, man. What's going on? What's happening?
I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you.
Does Matthew have me muted?
Matt, can you hear him? I can hear you, buddy. I'm just messing with you.
Oh my God.
I couldn't hear you the first time, though. I was very worried. I'm like, what about the show tonight? What's gonna happen on the show tonight with the mic not working? This damn mic, this new mic that's supposed to sound better and stand here. I want to get it out of the shot. I'm gonna lower it. No, it was fine where it was, buddy. You don't gotta worry about that.
All right, whatever.
Sorry, I was a mean. I did it once, and then I looked at Maddie. Maddie's like, "Can you hear him?" I was like, "Yeah, I could hear him. I just messed with him."
Why are you doing that to me? You're making me have a heart attack.
I love messing with you, buddy. You know, that's what buddies do. I was gonna say, you know what we got to do? We got to get you a little board though, so that you guys can do a 2-shot when the boys are at your house on post game and pre game.
Oh,
you know?
I have a board.
You have a board?
Yeah, Belzy and I bought one.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess you have the big board. Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, because then you could plug 2 mics into there, and then you guys could just do the show right at your desk together.
Right. Well, I mean, it's not a big desk, but I suppose we could.
Yeah. Well, Cass said yesterday on Two Guys, he feels like the desk would be big enough for the two of you.
He's a big boy. I don't know.
How big is your desk? Like, is it a small desk, Tommy?
It's like 3.5, 4 feet wide.
3.5, 4 feet wide. Yeah. That should be enough for 2 of you, I think.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd be nice for you guys to like sit right beside each other. That'd be real nice.
I know. I have a great couch. There's going to be a TV here on this wall. The setup is nice.
Yeah.
Like it's a great setup. Like I just have to paint the walls. They need a fresh coat.
A fresh coat, eh?
Can I talk about Ohtani?
Yes, you can, of course.
Because you came off the top with that. Like, how dare he overshadow the Edmonton Oilers Minnesota Wild on a Friday, December 8th game? That is rude and disgusting. And by that, I'm totally being facetious. And if the Jays get him, never in a million years would I have thought that this was going to happen. And it's pretty cool. So if that is indeed what is happening as it's been speculated, what a get. And how do they make sure they capitalize on this? And how do they make sure that we're talking about a World Series berth, this coming October/November?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They certainly have to take advantage of that right now for sure. And we'll keep you up to date as news continues to break here on Shohei Ohtani. I just never thought the Blue Jays would have been in the mix on him here. Right. But it sure looks like that it's well, let's see what this one says here. So Ben Nicholson. Yeah. Ben Nicholson-Smith. Oh, this will hurt. He says, sources tell me and Shai Davidi there is at present no decision made by Shohei Ohtani, nor is there a timeline for a decision. Blue Jays are a finalist. We'll see where it leads. Okay, but here's the thing. Those guys are going to be getting their information from probably somebody around the Toronto Blue Jays. And people around the Toronto Blue Jays are probably wanting to keep this thing under wraps until he lands in Toronto, which will be happening in just over 2 hours. So I could see why they're trying to kind of keep it. They want it to be like a big surprise, and look who's landed here, and get the camera on him as he walks off the plane and all that stuff. Man, if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be absolutely, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Tenser made a good point. I saw Tenser retweet and say, these guys are Rogers employees.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, we'll see where this is. We'll see where this heads. But it's going to be an absolute heartbreaker, gut-wrenching if he does not end up with the Toronto Blue Jays now. But anyway, keep us up to date because we're going to be banging through an oil stream here. So if you are following along on Twitter, you can text us 780-218-9999, or of course you can hit us up in the nasty chat as well, and just keep us up to date as we try to set up this hockey game tonight as we work our way through the show today. You mentioned you're down to the rink. Anything going on down there today, Tommy? What do you got?
The most exciting thing today at the rink was Matias Janmark playing his 500th game on his birthday. That's where we're at right now, because when things are good, there's not a lot to jump on, or not a lot of juicy material. I did see we had a Ben Gleason signing for those that are big Ben Gleason guys.
You say sighting? You saw Ben Gleason?
Sighting. Yes, he was on the ice for morning skate. It was a full morning skate. Was not an optional. Minnesota, meanwhile, did not have a morning skate. I did run into Patrick Maroon on my walk home.
Okay.
Getting ready for this fine program right here. And he looked gassed, like super tired. And I know that the Wild are on a stretch here where they're playing, what are they, 3-4? It's like a 5-7.
This is an unreal spot for the Oilers tonight, buddy.
It sets up really nice for Edmonton. And yeah, Pat just, he was asking what was going on in our world, and I told him about EST and everything, and he's like, oh, damn. And I told him about the 6 o'clocker logger, and he was like, oh, tell me more.
Yeah.
So he liked that. I told him about the AM Nasties, and he thought that was funny. And then at the same time, I'm like, what the hell is going on with you guys? He's like, I don't know, man. We have a good team, but we're just not clicking, and it's too bad. And he's like, and this stretch sucks. Like, everybody's tired. And just like his eyes, you could just see it in the eyes. He probably had just woken up. And, you fly in. Where did they come from last night? Vancouver, right?
2-0 shutout to Casey DeSmith and the Canucks last night. So
yeah, you lose an hour, and you've played a lot of hockey in a small window of time, and you've had a lot of emotion when you lose a coach mid-season, as we've seen multiple times, as we've seen weeks ago. And he looked gassed. But I mean, he's one guy of 20 or 23, and I would assume that the rest of the guys are in the same boat as him. And Pat's not a guy, knowing him in his time in Edmonton, traveling with him and stuff like that. He's not a guy that gets like super amped up and is, oh, let's go. It's noon on a
pretty
Friday.
Chill dude anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very relaxed, but you could just kind of see like the battery's low and he's got to recharge, right?
Well, that would correlate with Rousseau's tweet last night, watching the third period of that game, that the Minnesota Wild just simply looked gassed tonight. So, I mean, Tommy, considering the position that the Edmonton Oilers are in right now, I'll just say they got to win this hockey game tonight. You just laid out all the things that have led to Minnesota being exhausted as they apparently look. You can't come out. I wouldn't even accept they got goalied excuse tonight, should it happen, which it probably won't happen. They have to win this hockey game tonight. And to be honest with you, with where Minnesota is at right now, they got to win this thing in regulation. It's as simple as that. You don't want to give Minnesota, a team that you're right there sort of battling with because of the spot you put yourself in, any sort of point in this race right now. So Oilers got to go out and they got to win this bloody game in regulation tonight, don't they?
They do, absolutely. And these Western Conference games are all 4-pointers. And the divisional games, when Edmonton finally plays more Pacific Division opponents, those are going to be key. If Edmonton is, or when it does make its ascent into a wild card kind of competitive level, I think they will get there too, by the way. Yes, I think they're back. And, Cass and I were joking on the post game the other night. It's like, they're back, baby. We're back on the bandwagon. There is a difference. And obviously on the ice, it's noticeable, and how they're playing, how they're defending, especially. They're getting saves. They're not hanging their goalie out to dry. And then on top of that, they're scoring. They've got a healthy Connor McDavid. And, Zach Hyman's on an absolute tear. So they're in a really good spot. Yes. So absolutely. The 2 points tonight and 2 points in regulation, crucial. Can't overlook that ever. And stomp on these Minnesota Wild early, suck whatever soul they have left, whatever energy they managed to recharge from this afternoon from their nap, just absolutely destroy and stomp all over it. And that would be the ideal way of going about it. Edmonton, surprisingly, did it against the Carolina Hurricanes, a much more formidable opponent this year and in years past than the Minnesota Wild. In general, we know that the Wild are a pain in the ass for the Oilers, but in general, the Hurricanes have been a very strong team under Rod Brind'Amour, and the Oilers went out there and they pummeled them, and they got 4 goals in the first period. They added a 5th in the second period, and then they cruised to a 6-1 win. So more of that, please. More of that, please, from an Oilers standpoint. And I think they should be okay, given everything else that we've discussed.
Dusty and Tommy Gazzola with you. Portions of the Oil Stream brought to you by our wonderful partners over at Boston Pizza. If you're looking for a place to watch the game tonight, there's probably a Boston Pizza within a stone's throw of wherever you're at, because they're all over the bloody city. And you can go hit up the lounge, take the family out to the restaurant. They'll have, obviously, the game on in both sides of all the Boston Pizzas tonight. $5 off medium pizzas during the Oilers game tonight. On top of that, $1 off tankards of Canadian and Coors Light, and then 550 shots of Fireball, Jaeger, Burt Reynolds, Purple Rain, and Honey Jack at all Boston Pizza locations tonight. So if you want a great deal on a pizza tonight, man, hit up Boston Pizza to watch this game this evening. People are wondering if you gave Matias Janmark a hug for his birthday because you're his biggest fan in town.
You know what's funny is I actually was thinking about this because he's getting a lot of attention today, and rightly so. He's playing very well, 3-point performance. It's his birthday. There was no hug. I did give him a cordial handshake and said, "Happy birthday, congrats on 500 games." I'm not a hugger. I know Hontorio Momes texted us in and said, "I heard Tommy got his autograph." No, that's not. I don't get autographs, but Good for Matias Janmark. And I was thinking to myself, too, I was like, look at this. Finally, everybody else sees it, too. And I'm kidding, of course. But it is good when a guy like Matias Janmark, a player of that caliber, a very respectable, serviceable NHLer, is getting attention like that for what he's doing offensively, and then the recognition for his overall game and the defensive component that he brings to the table generally night in, night out for the team is being acknowledged. So it is funny. Yes, I love the jokes. Keep them cracking on the nasty chat and in the text line. But good. This is why you got Matias Janmark last year. He's supposed to be steady. He does have a little bit of offense and pop to his game. And the fact that it came together a little bit and has come together in recent weeks is great, because this is how your bottom 6 gets better, is with guys like a Matias Janmark. Is he a savior? No, but he's a very serviceable, very good NHL player. And, you know, championship caliber teams, contenders, as we like to call them, they have guys like Matias Janmark on their team, generally in the bottom 6.
I would think, I don't think this is a crazy statement, and you guys, everybody can chime in here at 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat. Matias Janmark makes the McLeod and Fogle line significantly better, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a steadying presence. Things that we talked about in the offseason. He's on the right side of the puck most of the time, if not all of the time. Yes, he makes mistakes from time to time. Everybody does. He can provide some offense. You know, you don't expect it from him, but he has that ability. And when you are his line mates in a McLeod and a Fogle, and you trust a guy like that, it makes you feel better, because you're like, okay, I'm going to, like, say you're Warren Fogle and you're going to forecheck. And we could use that first goal as an example, you know, just because it's recent, fresh in our memory. The other night against Carolina, like, Fogle goes in on a forecheck, but he knows and has the trust that, you know, McLeod's fast, like Fogle.
Yeah.
And then Janmark is generally reading the play. And if something goes haywire on this forecheck and they lose it, and the puck is going up the other way towards the Oilers net, Matias Janmark's probably anticipating that, watching the play, and he can trust him. So it, you know, gives him wiggle room, let's call it, or the confidence in knowing that he could go in there, try to make a play. Like that was on that goal though. That was it was a clever stick lift, but who was it back there? Jacob Slavin.
It was Slavin. Slavin did not play that hard at all. That was a stinky play by Slavin. It was look, all the effort in the world, or all the credit in the world to the effort that Foegele put in there, but he did not have to battle for that puck. I think it's almost, to me, it was almost like Slavin was going to brace for contact and didn't focus on the puck enough, and Foegele was like, "Oh, I'm not going to hit you. I'm just going to take this puck and send it out front to my teammate, and we'll take a 1-0 lead." Right? So
Anyway, but the point is, Dusty, like, it allows or gives you that confidence in the back of your mind to go and to make a play. And, if things don't work out or something goes sideways, Janmark's a guy that's there and you can trust that. And that's just it's a small example, but it's a recent one where you're like, okay, like I get it. And that's why Janmark is appreciated by his teammates, his coach. And then now the rest of the media and the fan base. So you're welcome, everyone. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Tommy Gazzola out here taking a victory lap on Matias Janmark right now. On Janmark's birthday, too. Unbelievable. Okay, I want to get to this one. This is interesting. Oh, Richard, by the way, points out, guys, I know this isn't the lock shop, but I bet Jay's season tickets have gone up in price in the last 20 minutes. Oh, like they're going to make so much money off of everything with Shohei Ohtani. It's going to be absolutely insane. Anyway, D White asks, when Holloway gets back, do you put him on the fourth line? And I think it's kind of the only, I got a little asterisk on this, but I'd say it's probably the only place for him. But Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, probably when he comes back, and then see what happens in the first.
He's not going to be back for 2 weeks still, conservatively, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, like I haven't had any Holloway sightings myself, and I didn't see him today. Again, I saw Ben Gleason, but I think a couple weeks away. And if Janmark, McLeod, and Foegele is still going strong, your top six you're not touching right now. The top six is clicking just fine. The real spot is on the fourth line, and you ease them back in, and that might create. If we look down the road, that might create people say, they're not using him enough. They need him ahead of Foegele on the third line, or they need him ahead of McLeod on the third line. That could happen, absolutely. But as of today, with the team playing the way it is and the top three lines being what they are and having success, if Holloway were to come back and the situation is kind of similar, you're probably putting him in on the fourth line ahead of Sam Gagner or, I like James Hamlin's game. Where is it going to be in a couple weeks? I don't know. Will it dip? Maybe. Could it get better? Potentially, absolutely. But logically right now, you're probably getting him in on the fourth line, hoping he finds a bit of a groove, and maybe you find some extra time for him here and there after power plays on a shift like that, because he's not going to be out there on the power play, but you want to mash a line together, like you Frankenstein a line together to get something going, and you want guys to move their feet and feel like they're back in the game. Throw him in situations like that. Maybe there's a couple extra minutes for him in a situation like that to take him from, potentially an 8-minute night to a 10-minute night. And is that the best way to develop a guy? No, but again, he needs to play. And if he could give you some jam on the fourth line, and if, his injury and the recovery goes well, that's fine. That's fine. He's going to be a more important player down the road. And I like the way he was playing before he got hurt. But probably to answer the question, in the fourth line and see where he can go and take it from there.
I'm going to throw this out there. If Connor Brown hasn't got it going by the time Dylan Holloway comes back, I wouldn't mind mixing Holloway in with Kane and Draisaitl if the McDavid-Nuge line is still a thing, which I don't know why it wouldn't be. Yeah. McDavid, Nuge, and Hyman have been absolutely on fire. Whoa.
How dare you not respect Connor Brown hitting the post last game?
I know it. Look, that was a nice little play.
He hit
banged one off the post. But if he hasn't,
it was a good play.
If he hasn't scored a goal by the time Dylan Holloway comes back, then I would say, and I've said multiple times, I think he's around it. Like I think it's close. Like it's going to happen for him. But you can't say he hasn't had the opportunity. He's been put in pretty much really good spots since he got here and when he's been healthy with the Edmonton Oilers. So It'll come.
That's a good point.
If it hasn't come by the time Dylan Holloway returns, I think it would be completely justifiable to give Holloway a look there. He was starting to get going before he got hurt too.
He had a great game in Seattle.
Which was kind of frustrating, right? So
yeah.
Anyway, 780-218-9999. I do want to just throw this out there. This is just awesome to see from our from all of our supporters here at Edmonton Sports Talk. Bill is in, and he goes, hey, guys, I bought a hat this morning at Pro-Am Sports to take advantage of the EST special. I was so happy that I just went back again on my lunch break and bought another one. Advertising works. So that's great. Yeah, quickly, one more time. I know they're in the Oil Stream, but we're all partners throughout the entire thing.
Yep.
If you go over to Pro-Am this afternoon, the sale, I believe it ends today. They're not advertising anywhere else. If you go in today, and all you have to do is say you're there to take advantage of the EST hat trick, it's 40% off. 40% off headwear for the Edmonton Oilers. 40% off Oilers headwear. Just tell them that you're a nasty or whatever, and you're there to take the EST hat trick deal, and they'll get 40% off Oilers headwear. It was yesterday, and it was today, so swing on by. It's the Cookson boys over there. I got distracted on my phone for a bit because I'm still on Ohtani watch, so I'm just like browsing. I just keep waiting for it to be ruined, Like it sure seems like it's trending in that right direction, but I keep waiting for somebody to ruin it, even though you're starting to see some reports out there that it looks like it could be happening. So fingers crossed on that one. Tommy, what do you think? So what do you think of that second line right now? We had somebody asking about that a little bit earlier on over in the Nasty Chat as well today. Kane, Dry. So we talked to, I guess it would have been yesterday. It was brought up on two guys and a goalie. And it's like, they're not a line of burners, but they're not slow by any stretch of the imagination. So what have you thought of Kane, Draisaitl, and Connor Brown? Like they didn't do anything last game. Last game was a great game, but for that line, it was not a good night. Like they can play much better than they did last game.
Yeah, and they did have a couple of chances, but it's also kind of to look at it positively to start. It's kind of good where you didn't need your second line to have a monster game because the third line had a great night. The first line was excellent. Oh, by the way, and whenever the fourth line got out there, they were just fine too. Yes. Do you want more from them? Absolutely. They did have a couple of opportunities. I joked about the Brown post, but that came off a great play by Evander Kane to get a couple of chances. And then Brown went in, I think it was off the second rebound, and he kind of flicked it, almost buried it, but it hit the post. So as long as they're around it, as long as they're not bad defensively, their game should be better. They should be able to contribute more. No, they're not burners, but all three of them can skate just fine. Brown can be a little abrasive player, play in opposition players' equipment. Kane can be a bully on the ice, and Draisaitl's just a beast. So it has the elements of a good line. All three of them have good skill. Obviously, Draisaitl one of the best. Kane, excellent. And Brown has shown in his career that he is a offensively able forward. So it should be a line that you look at night in, night out and be like, yeah, I'm okay. They're fine. Just they're going to figure it out. So there hasn't been anything so glaring that I'm like, oh, this line is a disaster. No, I think they're going to be okay. And yes, they did not have a particularly electric game the other night, but today would be a nice time for them to step up. Maybe they take the reins.
Yeah, because the first line's not getting broken up right now. The third line's not going to get broken up right now. There's nobody else on the fourth line that you would really bump up there. Maybe Gagne for half a game if things aren't going well or something along those lines. But that line is what it is, and it should be a really good hockey line in the National Hockey League. So I would think that they probably do get going at some point. Portions of the Oil Stream today brought to you by Boston Pizza once again. If you're looking for a place to watch the game tonight, $5 off medium pizzas plus $1 off tankers of Canadian and Coors Lights. How about taking advantage of a sweet deal at One Putt? You can go www.oneputt.ca, One Putt Virtual Golf. And actually, if you go to www.oneputt.ca/deals, how about this? Their Family Golf Day Sunday deal, where you get 50% off your first hour if you bring your kids 12 and under to golf. So take the family out to golf at One Putt Virtual Golf on Sunday, and they'll give you 50% off the first hour. And if you've got a lady friend or a man friend or whatever, Wednesday date nights, $69 which gets you 1.5 hours of golf plus a $20 drink credit there as well. More details on all of this at www.oneputt.ca/deals, and follow them on Instagram as well at OnePuttYEG. They've got you can get a real good look at what they got going on over there on their Instagram account. They're doing some great work over there. So at OnePuttYEG, that's the number one, the word putt, YEG, and pretty soon they can sign Jon Rahm as a partner and launch these all over the world as he signs with the.
How about that?
Yeah, man. I talked about it on our show this morning. I know we're like off track a little bit, and we're going to stay on it. But
Right.
I would not have a problem with him taking the $600 million if he didn't spend the last 18 months talking about how live golf wasn't real and $400 million wasn't going to change his life and blah 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 blah. I would never go there. And then he takes the bag and leaves. It's such a heel turn. I got no time for it.
Yep.
And it kills me because I really loved Jon Rahm, and now he's
Me
broken
too.
my heart. You know, like
I loved how impassioned his speeches were, and every
yeah, he
time
seems so
spoke out
passionate about
against
it, right? Like,
and well thought out. And Carlos Sainz is a Jon Rahm fan, and I have a lot of time for Carlos Sainz and the Spanish connection. And then when I saw this news a few days ago, I'm like, really? Everyone's got their price evidently. And I don't know if it's the merger that maybe, eased his mind into taking the money and running. But
well, that's the
a heel
thing
turn.
is that some people are viewing it as a insurance policy, basically for live, because the merger, if it does not get signed off on by December 31st, it's not happening. So I think this is a power move by Liv to say, hey, if we don't get this signed off on, Jon Rahm's coming with us. So from a business perspective, I mean, it's a wise play by Liv, but it's just a bad heel turn by Jon Rahm. But anyway, let's stay focused on the game.
Yeah, more on Ohtani,
tonight.
please.
Yeah. Well, I mean, more on Ohtani. Ohtani watch. I love this. It's trending. It's happening. It's happening in caps. It's trending across the country as well. So people are very excited about what is happening with Shohei Ohtani and possibly the Toronto Blue Jays, where you're seeing some reports that it looks like it's already a done deal, whereas there are other people that are saying closer to the Blue Jays that it's not happening just yet. But let's think that it's probably going to later on today. By the time you drop the puck on the Oilers and Wild tonight, pregame, 5:30?
5:30.
So 7 o'clock puck drop. Ohtani could be announced already as a member of the Toronto Blue Jays. Your questions, of course, 780-218-9999, or you can hit us up in the nasty chat here as well. Interesting point here, guys. Carolina is a fast team. That line of Draisaitl, Kane, and Brown are good against heavy teams. So he's thinking they'll have a great game today, which, Minnesota has been known to be a little bit more of a heavier team. Guys, just in my opinion, but I think the bottom six are playing better because Knobloch has given them more minutes and really made them feel important to the team. It sounds silly, but I think it'll be a big part. And I remember saying that same thing 2-3 weeks after Jay Woodcroft was hired as well, right, Tommy?
That's exactly it. We heard it from the players too. We heard it a lot from Derek Ryan, and yeah, so great. And good that Chris Knobloch is utilizing the bottom six more and giving them opportunity, making them feel like they're a part of the game early on, starting the third line the other night, getting that goal really early. That's great. Will it continue? That's the big question. What happens when adversity sets in and the team gets into a bit of a bind for a few games? Does he stick with that mantra where he sends wave after wave and line after line, or does he condense it down? Because we watched Jay Woodcroft fall into the same trap that Dave Tippett did, that Ken Hitchcock did, that Todd McClellan did. When it's hard and things are not going well, you go 29 and 97, get out there. And it's every second shift. Can Knobloch avoid that? It's $1 million question. We shall see.
RCN is wondering where you think Danforth will fit into the bottom six.
Oh, great question, RCN. No comment. I will not even acknowledge that.
Oh, that was a good one. Oh, RCN, that was well played, buddy. That was good. Hey, I saw somebody in the let's see here. Let's get to this one. McLeod's line starts tonight. Penner's Pancakes. Do you think they start McLeod's line again?
If they did, that'd be great. Like, good. Like, and what a shot in the arm, confidence-wise, for that line. That would be awesome. Like, look how good you guys did the other night. You scored against a really good Hurricanes team, and then you got the ball rolling, and they ended up having a nice night. So why not? If it works, if you got something there and you want to capture lightning in a bottle for a little bit, stick with it, sure. And then by the weekend on Sunday, maybe you don't get a goal in the first minute or first 20, 25 seconds from that third line, and then you go back to the regular rotation. No harm in doing it tonight. I don't think that they'll get scored on. I think that the chances of them scoring using their speed and their buzzing ability and their confidence is more likely than them getting scored on. So yeah, absolutely. I don't mind that at all. I was pleasantly surprised the other night when they went out there and scored on the first shift.
I'm going to follow up with that text that came in earlier that said they expect the Kane, Draisaitl, Brown line to have more success tonight because they're a little bit of a heavier line. I'm going to say he starts them tonight and says, you know what?
Okay.
Great game wasn't. Well, I mean, I'd be okay with it. Maybe he starts.
Why not?
Maybe he starts McLeod again. But I would be like, hey, I know you guys didn't have a great game last time, but we need you. You're a bigger line against this team. Go out and set the tone. And I like that idea. So I could see Knoblauch rolling with them tonight as well. I mean, it's never a bad idea just to throw Connor McDavid out and dictate the pace right from the beginning of a hockey game. So we can certainly go there as well. Once again, portions of the Oil Stream brought to you by One Putt Virtual Golf. Find them on Instagram at OnePuttYag. And, of course, www.oneputt.ca/deals to get a better look at some of the things they're offering up for date nights on Wednesdays and family days on Sundays. We're going to get to a Cool Bet EST parlay a little bit later on. I told the boys over there I put some together for the game, so we'll go there in a little bit. Also, portions of the Oil Stream brought to you by Popeyes, where they have 5 flavors of wings, and all 5 of them are absolutely delicious. Signature hot, honey garlic, honey barbecue, garlic parm, and the ghost pepper. $9.99 for 6 wings. DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, and Uber Eats, and these 6 wings are pretty much a meal. They're absolutely delicious. You can get them at all Popeyes locations. I mean, I don't hate the idea of just throwing in a classic chicken sandwich or the blackened chicken sandwich either. But the 6 wings will certainly get the job done for you tonight. And I'm feeling like maybe a little honey garlic night. We've got Marshall's hockey Christmas party tonight, which should be a lot of fun. That'll be good tonight. So I'm hoping, because it starts at 5:30, we're doing it at Wolf Willow, where he used to do sport ball all the time. I'm hoping somebody brings a TV to set up there for the parents to watch the hockey game tonight, because I don't want to miss this one. So we'll see. Hopefully somebody's there, and maybe we'll order some Popeyes or something. Who knows? Should be a pretty good time tonight. But if you're looking to grab something to eat, maybe on the way home today from work or whatever, or at lunch here, if you're looking for something to nibble on, go get any of those 5 flavors of wings from Popeyes. Philip Broberg loaned down to Baco. Gleason called up. Is this a situation now, Tommy, that you think where if Kulak gets hurt tonight and has to miss a week, Gleason gets to play and Broberg doesn't because he was whining about wanting to be traded and that's why he sat down?
Yes.
Right? Like, that's just what it is. We could try to spin it any other way, but.
No need. Philip Broberg will eventually get a look back up with the Oilers. An injury might have to happen, like you alluded to. Hopefully, knock on wood, Oilers fans, that isn't the case. But yeah, like Ben Gleason has played NHL games. Ben Gleason isn't a super young defenseman or anything like that. So he had a great training camp. He, also bumped himself above Marcus Niemelainen on the pecking order. And, some would make the argument, hey, he was better than Vinny Desharnais. He was better than Philip Broberg. And I'm not going to argue that because he had an excellent training camp in preseason. So he has warranted this call-up. He has warranted an opportunity to play if they need him at any point while he's up here. But is this the end of Philip Broberg as an Oiler? I don't necessarily think so, unless they feel like they have a deal and they can appease him. But I think, we'll see where this Broberg drama goes. And I like what Joaquin Gage said last night. Or not last night. It
was yesterday on Two Guys. Yeah.
Yeah, on Two Guys and a Goalie. And, there's people that are on the side of the player. There's people that are on the side of the team. And Broberg put himself into a jam, or his agent did. They tried to force the hand of the Oilers, and it turned into a mess for a couple of days. And, winning kind of glosses over some of how much of a mess it could potentially be or might still be. But, Gager makes a good point. Like, this is now a tactic that young players or disgruntled players use, and generally to their advantage. Whereas back in the day, it didn't always work out. And I was watching some of the Wild and Vancouver game yesterday. I noticed Connor Garland was out there. I was like, hey, shouldn't he be traded by now? Because they tried the same thing.
Yeah,
in the offseason
good point.
Going into the season. Now he's a little bit older than Broberg, and his contract is a little bit more significant. But yeah, I don't know. If you haven't seen the clip, I retweeted it, and Dusty posted it last night. Gager had some, I thought was a really good take, a well thought out take. And, for a former player to say it carries way more clout, as it should, than a member of the media. But it was a good take. And in a nutshell, it was, the audacity. I don't know if that's too harsh of a word, and that's kind of my own word, but for him to go and do that, make that play when he hasn't had the body of work to back up asking for a trade, or his agent asking to negotiate a trade, where are we at type of thing. Yeah, I get that. I understand that rationale.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see how this sorts out. When do you think we see him again, man?
There's no rush.
Yeah.
Unless they promised him, okay, you're just going out for a couple of weeks. I don't know.
But why do you need to promise him that? They don't need to promise him anything, you don't. Right?
This isn't a $5 million goaltender that's supposed to be your starter. This is a different scenario. This is a guy that's not making a ton of money. He's not really done much in the 79 NHL games he's played. Yes, I know he only plays 5 to 7 minutes, and it's tough to develop that way, but just go there and dominate the AHL and see what happens.
Well, that's what you just said. It's tough to impossible. It's not tough. It's legitimately impossible to develop playing 5 to 7 minutes a night. So where you develop? Right. You develop in the developmental league, which is the American Hockey League. Go play 23, 24 minutes a night.
Go play mad.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Play mad. Be the guy that you want to be in the National Hockey League, in the American Hockey League for a while. Right? And
absolutely.
And he's been up and down from the American League to the National League for the last few years. And I know him getting to play over half the games last year. He probably thought, okay, well, I'll be a full-time guy this year, and it just hasn't worked out that way just yet. So just go down and grind it out for a few months and come back up with a good attitude when there's an injury, and maybe all of a sudden you do get more of an opportunity. Or maybe he never does. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But, yeah, not ideal, but I do think they handled it the best way. I think the best way was to send him down right now and go from there. And you're right, Gleason had a nice preseason, man. There was a lot of people saying that he should have been on the team at a camp.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is kind of a lesson in itself to Broberg that be what Gleason did. Gleason played well, played better than Broberg in the preseason, got sent down. I mean, nobody's going to bitch about it because it's Ben Gleason. But,
correct.
Now he's played well enough that Broberg kind of burned a bridge and Gleason gets an opportunity. So,
Dusty, quickly.
Yeah.
Do you look at the Oilers setting him down the next day as an oh yeah kind of situation? Oh yeah, Philip?
I think I do, but I also don't care about it one way or the other. You know what I mean?
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be even prior to that though? No, that's probably what it was. I was going to say prior to that, they might have been thinking about sending him down anyway, but they kind of, that's probably what it was.
I think so too. And I'm okay with it.
Well, lesson learned, I guess. You would hope.
Maybe.
And then kind of see where
you would hope.
See where it goes from there. 780-218-9999. Or of course you can hit us up in the nasty chat as well. Eden is over there and says that he hasn't been playing at all. If he was playing in the AHL, this probably wouldn't be an issue. So where do you think that would be? If Broberg had been in the American League for the last 6 weeks, Tommy, do you think it would have come out that, he's not happy that he's stuck in the American League and they're still trying to seek a trade? Or do you think it would be different because he'd still be looking at being you know what? The fact that he played over 40 games here last year, I think it probably would have still come to a head even if he was in the American League.
So do I. And that's why I talked about it in the summer, thinking if it doesn't work out for him this year with the Oilers, that he probably would try to force a deal or have his agent try to force a deal. Yeah. Yeah, I think we still would have been at this point. I was just trying to wonder, though, if he was in Bakersfield instead of up with the big club, and that information was passed on that he was seeking a trade or asked for a trade, if it would have received the attention that it did. It probably wouldn't have been that impactful because it dragged into a second day here, and we tried to get a hold of him and interview him, but the veteran stepped up and spoke instead.
And what's that, today? Yesterday.
Because
did they speak about the Broberg situation yesterday?
Yep. Yeah.
So what they say?
Talked about it.
Well, Ekholm would have been a good
Nurse
guy.
Talked about it.
What they say?
Darnell. I'll start with Darnell. Darnell, if you didn't catch his interview yesterday, he said, "I know what it's like being a first round pick, trying to make the team. You want to make the team. You think you're ready, and they tell you you're not ready." And he goes, if this was like when I was breaking in, we had room on the blue line and we weren't a very strong team. That's 100% true. And that allowed Darnell Nurse to stay up or get. And I remember the year him and Leon Draisaitl, I think it was 15-16. They started the year in the minors and they got called up like the first or second week and they never looked back. And then there was Matias Ekholm, who talked about, he's got good skill. He could do things with the puck that I can't. I think he talked about Bouchard about that too. But with Broberg, he said, I understand the frustration. He talked about sometimes you fight your instinct as opposed to what the coaches want. You got to find the right thing, and it's tough. So basically, they stepped up and they did what good veterans do, and they try to create a bit of a shield for him. So I'll give them credit for doing that, but it would have been great if we heard from him, but he's a young guy and him and his agent created a situation that, now people want answers. They want to hear from you. And all of a sudden, a day later, they're talking about him being sent down. So it's a mess. And if he was in the minors the whole time and the information came out, well, do you think that any of the papers in Bakersfield, if they even send anyone to cover the Condors, would ask Broberg about this? Do you think that Holtby, who works for the team, even though he's a great play-by-play guy and communications guy, Holtby wouldn't ask Broberg about that? Not a chance in hell. So the fact that Broberg was here and this came out does put more light on it, and it makes it more of a conversation.
Well, they wouldn't have asked him, but his agent still could have texted Frank and been like, "We're not happy. We want a deal."
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. But the following day type of spillover, that wouldn't have happened, right?
Gager pops into the Oil Stream chat today. It says, Tommy, Cass asked me to come on the Smash Hit Oil Stream post-game show. You still need me? I need to know how many 6 o'clockers I can have during the game.
Are you coming over, Gager? I'll have to go pick some up if they're not sold out. So I'll go get some.
I do not like your chances of finding a 6 o'clocker lager anywhere in this city.
I know. So hey, quick story about that. So thank you again to everybody supporting the Nasty and the 6 o'clocker lager and Alley Cat and Sobeys and Safeway Liquor and us. Yesterday I was with my dad briefly, and he's like, I can't get any of that damn 6 o'clocker lager. And my parents' new place has a Sobeys Liquor right by it. And he's like, I went there and they were sold out. The lady told me they were sold out. And I think it was Scott or the Sobeys Twitter account was like, hey, we just got a couple flats at the St. Albert Sobeys.
Yeah.
And so I told my dad, I'm like, hey, if you want to get it, it's there. And he goes, I better get going. I'm like, you could probably wait an hour or two. He's like, no, that's going to sell out. And so he left and he got there and he said there was only 2 4-packs left and he got one.
God.
And that was 45 minutes after the tweet.
It's absolutely insane. Cab from Alley Cat was by here this morning. I had a little chat with him this morning. And the second batch is hopefully the plan is to be canned on December 21st or December 20th, delivered directly to Sobeys by the 22nd, and then Sobeys locations are getting 10. One location ordered 20 flats, and they'll have it throughout the holidays. So that's the plan right now, is that the shelves should be fully restocked in the Edmonton area by December 22nd at the absolute latest. And then he also told me that they've got a third tank already going. And basically, we decided today that it's going to be a permanent thing. As long as people keep buying it, it's just going to be a permanent thing. I haven't tweeted about it or anything yet, but that was the conversation we had today. And we've got like 3 or 4 places that are hoping to get it on tap right away. And then, eventually we just keep adding it on tap at other bars as well. So it's very much trending. I mean, unless the third tank doesn't sell very well, but no, I'm like 98% sure 6 o'clock lager is going to be a permanent thing at liquor stores across the province. So
it's a good beer,
that's
man.
pretty cool.
Yeah. And I know we are completely biased, but that was one of the first things when I had that first one during the watch party a couple of weeks ago.
It was so good.
It was like really, really tasty and it has a good finish to it. It's smooth. It's well done to Cam and the whole crew at Alley Cat, the brewers. Absolutely tremendous beer, and to be associated with it, to see the Nasties buy it the way they have, it is crazy and amazing all at the same time.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's insane. So thank you very much for the support, and we're looking forward to hammering that thing out here for a long, long time, which is very good news for everybody. The guy, Chris, down in Calgary, they have it at Calgary, Sobeys liquor stores. Now that we've taken some of it from Calgary and brought it back up to Edmonton, but I know they did leave some in Calgary, so you should be able to find some. Jim says, of course, I'm out of town for round 2 of the 6 o'clock lager. Don't worry, Jim. Like I said, you're probably going to be able to get it forever. So that's very nice as well. Also, from the discussions I've had with Sobeys and Alley Cat, it's going to come in permanently at a lower price than all of their other 4-packs.
Oh, that's
so
clutch.
How's that? That's awesome. How's that sound too? Like it can't get any better, man. It's a great day.
That's wild.
It's a great day.
It's honestly wild.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. All right, let's get into this. Over at Coolbet, I did tell the boys I was going to build a little Coolbet EST parlay for tonight. I've got it already laid out here, but Tommy, I am curious, like what type of game are you expecting here tonight? Is this because if Minnesota comes in tired, like do the Oilers pump them, or does Minnesota sort of lull this thing out and in the end the Oilers find a way to get it done and win like a 3-2 hockey game or something like that?
I think Minnesota's big thing today will be a push off the start. I think, if the Oilers can get to them early and get a couple past, I'm assuming it's going to be Marc-Andre Fleury tonight because I think it was Gustafsson that went yesterday.
Yeah, Gustafsson played yesterday,
Yeah. And so if they can get a couple by Marc-Andre Fleury, you take away the whatever rejuvenation the Wild got from this afternoon, and they just, they falter, they wilt away is if you get to them early. But if you let them hang around and they stick with the simple, heavy game like they're capable of playing, and you let their skill guys get a couple of opportunities, Zuccarello, Kaprizov, obviously, Boldy's a great player. And then if you give those guys a little window, they can bite you and spark the Wild. So if Edmonton can, handle whatever little push Minnesota puts together off the top, and Edmonton could grind away and attack and wear down the Wild defense and not give the Wild much in the offensive zone, I think we're talking about a solid like 3 or 4 win Oilers victory. Now, if they don't, if the Oilers are very laissez-faire, if the Oilers aren't winning battles and they're letting Minnesota kind of dictate things, then I think that we're playing with fire here, and we could see the Wild either force the Oilers' hand, or we're talking about a loss. So it's up to the Oilers to dictate this game. They've been doing that well lately, which is great. What they did against Carolina, that's a great template. You continue that into this game against Minnesota, you're golden. And we're talking about, I think, a 3 or 4-1 victory. Take advantage of those tired legs, man, because this is what 4 and 6 for the Wild. I was just looking at the schedule again, and you need to jump all over them. And again, if you didn't tune in earlier, I saw Patty Maroon. Use this however you want, but he looked gassed earlier today when I ran into him walking home, and he couldn't hide it well. And I know Patty when he's tired. That was super tired, Patrick Maroon today.
All right, your text to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, and of course you can hit us up in the nasty chat as well. McJesus says the Oilers absolutely pump them tonight, win by at least 3 with a fight. Hashtag in Holland we trust. It's been a while since we saw a hashtag in Holland we trust. But there it is. Here is the EST parlay I'm going to put together. It's paying plus 850 before a boost from CoolBet. You'll be able to find it in the exclusives page over at CoolBet. I'll pass it along to the boys here as soon as we are done the oil stream today. Edmonton Oilers to win in regulation tonight. Last night before I went to bed, I tweeted out that you're going to want to get on this right now. It was minus 103 then. This morning on our show, it was minus 109. And we mentioned it again that the line is just going to keep moving, so you got to get at it then. Now it's at minus 120. So it's moved. Wow. It's moved significantly since this morning. So we're going to go to the Oilers in regulation at minus 120. Connor McDavid over 1.5 points at minus 106. A Leon Draisaitl goal tonight, which I will say I think it comes on the power play. Minnesota has the dead last penalty kill in the National Hockey League. And then I'm going to go with a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins point as well. So a Nuge point, McDavid 2+ points, a Draisaitl goal, and the Oilers in regulation. And after the boost, I know it should at least be 9-1, I would think. So that's something you can ride with tonight over at CoolBet as well. There's Pro-Am sliding into the nasty chat. Thanks to all the EST nasties. Like I said, slide over there this afternoon. Go in and say you're there for the EST hat trick special, and you get 40% off of Oilers headwear. So that's nice.
That's a great deal
as well. Yeah, it's an awesome deal. It's a ridiculous deal. 40% off anything at any time is insane. And I'm very much excited for some sort of Blue Jays sale once they sign Ohtani. And I'll just tell the Cooks and boys, you might as well order me my Ohtani jersey right now. Like, let's go.
Oh,
let's go. That's where I got my Kawasaki autographed photo from the crew at Pro-Am. They made that happen. That was amazing. That's still on my wall. I've got a Jays wall where I got Encarnacion canvas, Joey Bats canvas, an Encarnacion autographed photo, and then a Kawasaki autographed photo. It fits right in well. And then, of course, I have my Matt Stairs card collection that I like to keep track of as well.
Naturally.
Yeah, well, who doesn't?
He was a very good Edmonton trapper. He had a greasy mullet back then. Back in the early days of Telus Field, which is now Remax Field, there was like Scott Spezio, Eric
the whole
Chavez,
crew, yeah.
Miguel Tejada. I think Izzy Molina was the catcher. They had a really good team. AJ Hinch was on that team. Man, Matt Stairs, I think he was DH and outfield, if I remember correctly. He was playing left field. I remember for a few games, I'm like, who is this greasy little guy? And my dad's like, he's Canadian. He's good.
He was at the stadium 2 years ago at Riverhawks game. Yeah, Marshall. I took Marshall down to meet him, and Marshall didn't give two you-know-whats. But I did. I was just like, oh, my God, can you sign this, please, sir, Matt Stairs? And then he just said it like it wasn't busy. There wasn't like a line for him. So I just sat there and like bullshit with him for like 20 minutes watching the game. I was like, nice. I would have paid for this experience to just sit here and talk with you because he's my favorite baseball player of all time. Like I love Matt Stairs. So this text is in. It says, guys, I'm draining my CoolBet account for today's parlay. First of all, one of the slogans with CoolBet is stay cool, bet responsibly. Do not bet outside of your means. But hey, if your whole account only has $10 on it, throw $10 on. You can end up winning like $100 on this parlay tonight. So we'll see how it goes. I think the Oilers are in a really nice spot to take advantage of a tired Minnesota club tonight. So I really like that. Oilers in regulation. McDavid 2 points, Draisaitl goal, and Nuge with a point tonight as well. Tommy, one more time. Pre-game details. Cass on pre-game, Gager on post. Is that the plan?
Yes, correct. Yeah, good team effort from both boys there. And I'm working on a wild guest as well. We had Mike Maniscalco on, who's the play-by-play voice of the Hurricanes the other day. He was great. He was texting me during the game, and he was like, oh, my goodness, this is brutal. I'm like, that's okay. Just go in tomorrow and watch the Canes beat up on the Flames. Whoopsies, didn't happen.
They started well.
So... yeah, they did. And then it all just fizzled away in the third period. But, so 5:30, we get going. Cass on pregame, Gager on postgame. Gager, I'm going to text you right away if you're still watching, and we'll get everything sorted out. And hopefully we have a wild guest. Should be good. We're going to get you ready for what should be an important Friday night game. And the Oilers would be well to take advantage of this situation.
4-point battle in the District of Ice tonight. So if you're going to the game, make sure you're listening on TuneIn or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com in your vehicle on the way to the game. And then on the way home from the game, you can listen on TuneIn as well. That is going to do it for the Oil Stream today. For Tommy, he'll be back at 5:30 at the pregame show. I am Dustin Nielson. Sports coverage continues. We got a Nielsen Show replay coming up here right away on the TuneIn feed, and then the pregame show tonight at 5:30. Tommy, have fun with that, man, and I'll see you next week.
Sounds good, Dusty. Have a great weekend.